Hello, so you can hear me better on this. If you have empty seats by you, we're just asking if people can kind of scooch together so we have easier access seats on the ends and the aisles for the folks that are coming in. Thank you so much. We're looking like a full house, so yay.
Boy, howdy, do we have a full house. This is wonderful. Woo! Thank you, everyone, for being here. I'd like to ask if you can just move up front and move into the insides. We want to just kind of pack this place as much as possible. And if you're more comfortable just staying where you are, that's absolutely fine too. Folks are passing around some index cards and some clipboards. Who has an index card right now? All right, excellent. We got some index cards in the audience. If you would like to write Senator John Curtis a note on those index cards, feel free to do that. Well, we've got a dilemma. It's 7 o'clock. And I bet you there's going to be some latecomers. So we have to decide whether we are going to grant mercy or justice. Mercy. Oh, you guys are so nice. All right. So here's what I propose. We'll go ahead and get started in 3 minutes. So we'll give them 5 minutes total. Does that sound good? Excellent. All right. We'll see you then. All right, let's go ahead and get started. Thank you for coming out tonight. Now, I have a question for you. Can we protect Medicare for Utah's seniors? Can we protect Medicaid for Utah's low-income families? Yes, we can. Can we protect Social Security? Yes, we can. Can we honor our vets with better health care? Yes, we can. Can we call attention to politicians who neglect to hold town halls? Welcome to the Healthcare Town Hall with Senator John Curtis. My name is Paul Michael Maxfield, and I'm the director of Take Action Salt Lake, and I am also your host for tonight. Tonight's town hall is made possible by Take Action Salt Lake, which drives social change through unapologetic direct action, and the Utah Alliance Coalition, which holds elected officials accountable at all levels of the government. We have a favor to ask everybody in this room. The more people who know that this event occurred, the more impactful this event will be. So we need your help. Take and post photos and videos of tonight's town hall, and be sure to tag local media, national media, and of course, Senator John Curtis. Let's get the word out. If you're a veteran in the audience, I want you to say, "Hoorah!" Yeah, okay. Nice, thank you for your service. If you're a healthcare worker in the audience, I want you to say, "Oh yeah." Yeah, woo! If you're a caregiver to the elderly, say, "You know I care." All right. If you've called and shared your thoughts with your elected officials at least one time this year, I want you to say, "United together, stronger than ever." All right, wow! Holy moly! The energy in this room is amazing. This is a very good group, and I'm inspired, truly inspired to see so many people who are passionate about making a difference for their community. You are the engaged, thoughtful citizens that make our community strong. Everybody here understands that democracy is not a spectator sport, and we all need to jump in the ring right now. To paraphrase Dr. King, we stand here tonight because we are confronted with the fierce urgency of now. This is no time for apathy or complacency. It is time for action. This town hall is democracy in action. We are democracy in action. We are the helpers, the protectors, the megaphones for justice, and the wall against injustice. Everybody in this room is a living embodiment of the principles our founding fathers dreamed of: liberty, equality, and self-governance. This is our moment, and let's own it together. Town halls are the heartbeat of democracy, a space where elected officials and constituents come face to face to collaborate. Town halls build community, strengthen trust, and ensure that our elected officials make decisions that actually reflect the voices of the people. Town halls are not partisan, and they're not optional. And Senator Curtis made a promise to do them. Here's what Senator Curtis said in a campaign press release, and I'm quoting here. "I promise to always be accessible by holding town hall meetings consistently. I remain connected to the issues that matter most to the people of Utah through town halls. Your feedback directly shapes my work in Washington." That's what he said. Direct quote. Here's the thing, though. According to his website, Senator Curtis hasn't done a town hall for 313 days. Yep, that's right. That's right. Weird, huh? I mean, he said he was going to do it. He's. Did you guys hear that? Us! That's right. That's right. I think we can all agree that our government is undergoing legions of rapid and chaotic changes. Major decisions are being made about the Veterans Administration, Medicare, Medicaid, and Social Security, just to name a few. Why isn't Senator Curtis traveling around the state explaining his decisions? Is he too busy to meet with his constituents? Is he scared? What do you guys think? Is he ashamed of his record? Is he being bullied? Yeah. Or maybe he's lost in a corn maze. Who knows? Well, then it must be one of the others. When politicians refuse to organize town halls, they turn their backs on the very people they swore to serve. Trust erodes, and accountability flies out the window. Silence replaces dialogue, leaving citizens unheard and disconnected from the decisions that shape their very livelihoods. Our voices are valid. That's right. Well, I don't know about you, but I think town halls are pretty important. What do you guys think? Do you think Senator John Curtis should start doing town halls? Yeah. I had a feeling you'd say that. Well, since the senator has been too busy to organize a single town hall in the last 313 days, we decided to organize one for him. Tonight's town hall was strategically scheduled during a Senate recess. You know, the time when senators are supposed to be meeting with their constituents. We sent a formal invitation to his office, making it clear that all we were asking is for him to show up and answer questions. That's it. We just want Senator Curtis to honor the promise he made on the campaign trail, to hold town halls consistently. All right. Are you guys ready to talk to Senator John Curtis? Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together and help me welcome Senator John Curtis. Okay, I'm sorry. I've just been told that Senator Curtis is running late, but he should be here soon. Here's how tonight will unfold. We'll wait for Senator Curtis to join us, and then we'll hear from 4 incredible local healthcare advocates, each sharing their insights for 5 minutes. Then we'll hear from the director of the Utah Alliance Coalition, Frank Bannon, and after we'll open the floor to you, to your questions, to your comments, to your voice. Oh, okay. I'm being told now that Senator John Curtis has arrived and is ready to come on stage. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together and welcome Senator John Curtis. Senator Curtis, the mic is all yours. Do you have anything you want your constituents to know? Senator Curtis, anything at all you want your constituents to know? It looks like he crossed the road to avoid accountability. Looks like he just flew the coop on responsibility. No. So I guess that means that the senator is a no-show tonight. Yeah. Well, if our elected officials won't show up for us, we will show up for each other. Please help me welcome a healthcare advocate for the veteran community, retired Staff Sergeant Neil Murray.
Good evening. My name is Neil Murray. I'm a medically retired veteran, combat veteran. Thank you. I wrote down my speech because I want to follow something a little specific. So forgive me if I do a lot of reading and not a lot of looking. I'm a medically retired combat veteran. I have served in the Marines and in the Army in various roles to include infantry, human resources, and logistics. As someone who's walked the path of transition from service to civilian life, I stand here tonight not only as a soldier and a Marine, but as a voice for those who are struggling in silence, waiting for care and support they earned. My words focus on veterans and the VA, but it is also addressed to others who feel vulnerable and in the current climate. I am grateful for this opportunity. I'm grateful for to add my voice to the chorus here tonight. Thank you to those who are here and will listen. Before I begin, I ask for a moment of silence. One moment to reflect on veterans who are battling the demons right now and who may lose their struggle. 1 minute to consider what is happening as we wait for change. Statistically, at least one veteran in this country has attempted suicide in that moment that we just took. Every single day, statistically, 22 veterans die by suicide. This number does not take into account vets who have self-medicated through drugs or alcohol, or high-risk events that have taken their lives, as that is too difficult to quantify. Thousands more are stuck in a system that fails them, waiting months for critical care, drowning in a system that treats them like a burden, facing the reality that the country that they swore to defend is not defending them in their time of need. Tonight, on behalf of veterans, we acknowledge a grateful society. We are humbled by the love and support and the thanks that we receive. It is truly appreciated, although you will find many of us at a loss for words. When we respond back, thank you for your support.
We love you, man.
Please know that we truly appreciate what you say even though we might not be able to express it as much as we would like. On to the VA. Most of the VA and government employees around the VA are in it for the betterment of veterans. Hell, many of them are veterans themselves. Unfortunately, they are bound by red tape, the very red tape that you, Senator, can remove if you choose to. And yet, we are cutting VA workers. The very people who process claims, provide counseling, and ensure that veterans receive timely medical attention. This message sends is clear. Our sacrifices are acknowledged with words, but not with action. So part of what I've been asked to do is share some of my experiences with the VA. And I will say that the Utah VA system is very good. But there is deficiencies that we have come across. And so what I'm going to do is share a couple of stories. First one that I'm going to share is a few months ago I had need of a root canal. Something that in civilian life you can get relatively quickly. Within a few days, you call up and you get scheduled. When I called the VA, I was told I had to wait 6 months. 6 months of excruciating pain ahead of me. 6 months of being told to wait my turn. Or I could drive the 50 miles to the clinic and wait for the possibility of being seen without a promise of actually getting care. Fortunately, one of those caring individuals took the time and actually found a way for me to go and get some care. It was temporary, because I'm still waiting for that permanent, but thanks to a local dentist, he stepped up and took care of me. Another story I was going to share that now has less impact is when I first was going through retirement in 2023, my medical retirement, I went through some exams, and one of those exams was hearing test. Found that I had significant hearing loss and tinnitus, which was no surprise to me and the people around me. But because I'm stubborn and hard-headed, I decided I would wait to try and get hearing aids. But in December, early December 2024, the tinnitus and hearing loss got so bad I couldn't hold normal conversations. So I called the VA and scheduled an appointment. I was told at that point that I would have to wait till April to get everything taken care of. Through a stroke of luck, I actually got hearing aids yesterday, so I'm wearing them right now. Again, that's thanks to the caring VA here in Salt Lake. It shouldn't be. The last thing that I think is probably the most important is my personal experience with a counselor. I was going through getting treatment for PTSD. The counselor decided that I would benefit from a treatment called EMDR. They scheduled me, and I had to wait 4 months. 4 months of waiting and waiting until I had a nurse practitioner call me up and say that they were going to change my medication instead. When I asked him why, he said that the only certified counselor that could do EMDR within the Salt Lake community or within the VA had left. So now I was told, just take your meds instead. I've had friends removed from the VA and become ineligible for care because of an emotional outburst in the clinic. Although I cannot support the words that they used, I do support their frustration and anger towards the inaction of the VA. Imagining waiting months for necessary care, only to walk in and find out they messed up your appointment and you're going to have to wait more time. Wouldn't you be frustrated in that same circumstance too? Absolutely. Our pain isn't just physical. I will discuss something that not even my kids, family, or friends fully know. But after I was invited to speak here, I contemplated for a long time if I should discuss this, and I've decided, for the betterment of everyone, I'm going to talk about it. Here's my vulnerable moment in front of all of you. Yes, I have attempted suicide. I've attempted it twice, and I have spent time in the behavioral health unit. I am a survivor. These dark thoughts will never truly leave. I will fight them for the rest of my life. But I fight. I fight because I refuse to be a statistic. I refuse to let another warrior have to walk this battle alone. My energy now is dedicated to helping others still struggling. On my right forearm, I have a tattoo of the letters IGY6. I got your 6 or your back, with the number 22. I don't do this as a remembrance to me. I do it as a handout, as a symbol that they are not walking alone. A promise that no one has to fight alone. That we are here for each other now, just like we were in uniform. We have left body parts on battlefields. We have left pieces of our soul in places that no American may ever see. We have given years of our lives, and some gave all on these battlefields in far-off places. And yet we come home to a system that treats us like an afterthought or a burden. When a veteran finally reaches out for help, they are often met with long lines, red tape, and bureaucracy of an impersonal system. Sees them just as another number. We have to fight for the benefits we earned, jump through hoops to get basic health care, for wounds that we received in the service. And in many cases, we spend months to get a phone call, only to set up something months down the road. Only to hear our politicians talk about how grateful they are and that they support our troops while doing nothing to fix the problems that they have caused. We then watch on the news and hear discussion about cutting a bloated VA system, potentially wondering, is our disability benefits going to be stripped away from us next? A grateful nation indeed. But it's not just about health care. It's about employment. It's about purpose. It's about ensuring that when we take off the uniform, we are still valued in a society that we fought for. This is why I work with organizations. One of my favorite organizations that I'm working with is Irreverent Warriors. I'm not going to take too much time about it, but it's a goofy group and we have a lot of fun. But it is there 100% to help veterans find that friendship and that camaraderie, so no veteran has to face suicide alone. This is, when we leave the military service, we go through something called the Transition Assistance Program, or TAP. And TAP is not a very good system. It throws PowerPoints at warriors and expects them to be ready for a world that doesn't understand us. I volunteer on the side. I do this to help veterans. I help them with resumes, with, sorry, I lost my place. Teared up a little bit too much. I teach them how to translate their military experiences into civilian resumes, prepare them for interviews in a world that too often sees us as damaged goods other than assets. We must stop treating veterans like charity cases and treat them like the leaders and problem solvers they are. We need elected officials to step up. We need the community to step up. And most of all, recognize us for the efforts that we have fought for. To my fellow veterans, we stand together. You are not forgotten. We are not alone. And if you need a hand, if you need someone to talk to in that moment of darkness, I got your six. You will not sit in that place alone. That dark place is not alone. I will be there with you. We will not stop fighting for each other. And tonight, Senator Curtis, you have chosen not to be here. You have chosen to ignore the very people who you claim to support. Words are easy. Action is hard. And your absence speaks louder than any speech you could have given tonight. Shame on you, Senator, for turning your back on those who once stood ready to lay down their lives for you. We will not be ignored. We will not be silent. We will not stop demanding the respect, care, and attention that we have earned. We will remember this moment for a very long time. I took an oath that never expires, and I will not forget. Do you remember your senator? Thank you.
Whew, damn, that was a good speech. Okay, next up, please help me welcome a healthcare advocate for the elderly community, Leslie Proctor.
Sorry. Tough act to follow. I'm sorry. It's okay. I'm reading to, sorry, writer. My name is Leslie Proctor. I'm here to speak to you about Medicaid and the seniors who rely on it for their care. Before I talk about my personal experience with Medicaid and senior care, I want to give you a really quick overview of how it works. So generally, senior care facilities can be divided into 3 levels. The level of care depends on how well people can do their activities of daily living. That includes taking cleanliness, managing their own medications and finances, and a lot, really kind of important, being able to get from a chair to the bed or help with your transfers. The higher your need, if you have a higher need, you legally cannot go to a level of care below. You simply can't. Legally, they can't take you. Generally, the lowest level of care is independent living. This is like an apartment, but they do housekeeping, a lot of them, and you're responsible for everything else. Meals are provided. Any assistance in terms of getting from a bed to a chair is called standby assist, and what that means is either stand behind you and make sure you don't fall, or giving you an arm, a steadying hand. The next level is assisted living. That has meals and housekeeping. It does medication management. And in terms of transferring, the person has to be able to put weight on their legs to be able to help move from a chair to a bed. If the person is incontinent, the CNAs on duty will help with changing diapers and showering. And it's important to note that Medicaid is largely unavailable to those 2 levels. And on a side note, the CNAs, they're heroes because frankly, if it's stinky and messy and horrible, they're the ones who are going in to take care of it. The highest level of care is skilled nursing, and this has more RNs and LPNs on duty and offers total transfers and even feeding for people who can no longer feed themselves. Most activities of daily living are managed by the staff. The average cost of skilled nursing in this country is $9,200 a month. Right. So 1.3 to 1.4 million people are in skilled nursing facilities in the United States, and currently of those, 63% rely on Medicaid to pay for their housing and care. That comes down to between 750 and 900,000 people. The majority of these people are in wheelchairs. Many of them have severe dementia. They need the level of care of skilled nursing. My experience, my father was a brilliant, funny, kind man, and everyone who knew him loved him. He was a Korean War veteran who served the country working on top secret coding machines for the government. I still get messages from people he worked with or friends who tell me that they still miss him. I still miss him too. And even though he passed away more than a decade ago, I miss him. He remained mentally sharp and very funny until the day he died. In the space of just a few months in his mid-70s, he went from being able to walk a distance to falling frequently to not being able to stand and finally to not even be able to feed himself. When he could no longer stand, we needed to move him into a skilled nursing facility. The savings and cash that he has was very quickly depleted. The high cost prevented my brother and I, who were the only family, to be able to cover the cost. So Medicaid became a safety net for us. We didn't have to quickly try and sell his house during the economic downturn at the 2010, 2011. And I was able to concentrate my efforts on trying to find the right doctor for him. And eventually a neurosurgeon was able to do an operation that will restore some of my father's function. One day I came into his room for my daily visit. I was there 6, 7 days a week. And he was sitting unaided on the side of the bed. And I honestly almost had a nervous breakdown right then and there and just sob uncontrollably because it had been a long and hard road. Soon he regained enough function that we could move him to an assisted living facility, and the family was able to cover the cost of that. After my father passed away, we had the time to settle his estate, sell his house, and pay Medicaid back. Senator Curtis, I want you to imagine a skilled nursing facility. In front is a long line of seniors. Most are in wheelchairs. Their belongings are next to them in plastic bags. Many have no idea why they're outside, why they're cold, hungry, and why they're sitting in soiled and wet diapers. These are grandmas and grandpas. These are moms and dads. These are people who worked their whole lives. They built things. They raised families. And now they can't get the care they not only need, but also deserve. Imagine this scene playing out across the country to up to 900,000 people and their families. And now shift your focus to the skilled nursing facility. I know from interacting with administrators and head nurses that they need high rates of occupancy just to keep the facility above water. They struggle valiantly to provide quality care with often restrictive budgets. Now you take away more than 2/3 of their residents because of Medicaid cuts. Do you think they'll stay in business? Your action will kill an entire industry, one that is vital and necessary, one that any or all of us may need in the future, not only for ourselves, but maybe for our families. So now you have impacted not only residents, but millions of family members and hundreds of thousands of people working in the industry. I know most of you are appalled at what this can mean for people. That's why you're here, and thank you. The slides behind me will help you take action. You can join a group, you can volunteer, you can attend protests and marches. You should call your representatives every single day. There's a great app for phones, it's called 5Calls. It can help you with that, and it can give you ideas on what to say. And you might be like me and kind of go, whoa, during a message I'm trying to leave. We can also just lock arms and say no. We can say, this is wrong. We can stand up when we act. We can move the needle, and we can give others the courage to join us. So please take action. Senator Curtis, I'm completely at a loss. These proposed cuts to Medicaid make absolutely no sense to me at all. They don't make sense from a human perspective. You claim to love business, it doesn't make sense from a business perspective. And the political optics, ugh. Again, grandmas and grandpas out on the street, families saddled with care of loved ones they don't know how to help. And again, for those who don't have families, again, there are people who worked their whole lives. They built things. They fought for the country. They paid taxes. And they raised families. And to make things worse, in some kind of bizarre reverse Robin Hood, you're going to take from deserving seniors and you're going to give that money to a very, very small group of billionaires like Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos. I'm wrapping it up now. So what are they going to do with this money that they don't need at all? Well, in the case of Jeff Bezos, he's going to take a few friends up in a rocket so they can experience weightlessness for 10 minutes and 10 seconds. Yes, so taking away vital services to deserving seniors and giving it to someone who already has more money than they know what to do with, this makes sense? Senator Curtis, will you commit to opposing cuts to Medicaid, Medicare, and VA benefits? Thank you.
Do you guys know? Do you know about? Oh my God, here he comes again. Ladies and gentlemen, Senator John Curtis. All right, out, shoot. Get out, shoot. He's never here when you want him to be, and he's always here when you don't. Okay, do you guys all know about the 5Calls app? Who here uses it? Oh man. Okay, this is the app of my dreams. So, I was saying, like, God, it's so hard to figure out who my reps are. And then I have to track down their phone numbers. And then I have to research, like, what issue is. I have to feel like I just need to go be an expert on it. And then I have to prepare a big, long speech. And then I have to call. Well, this app takes care of all those problems. So if you haven't downloaded the 5Calls app, it's for Google Play and also the App Store. It's free, and it will immediately connect you with your reps using geolocation. It will provide you a list of issues that you may want to speak to your rep about, along with summaries of those issues, and as Leslie said, phone scripts. You don't need to write big, long letters. You don't need to write big, long emails. All you have to do is take 1 minute of your day to call one rep. That's it. That's it. And here's what happens. Yeah, call Cox. Yeah, call them all. That's right. Find your inner Karen. That's right. And you know what happens? What happens with 5Calls? So you call, you leave a message. Your representative doesn't hear it, but it goes to a staffer. And a staffer makes a note in an Excel sheet. And when there's lots of tallies on one particular issue, then that's when our representatives get notified. So it's important to call a lot. Call every day. Call on every issue that you want your representative to hear. All right. So if you are in the audience right now and you do not have the 5Calls app, this would be a perfect time to download it on your phone. All right, please help me welcome healthcare activist Paul Gibbs.
Thank you so much for being here tonight. When I got here and was sitting down with the other speakers, Leslie here asked me what perspective I was speaking from tonight. She told me about some of the others that are speaking. I'm really speaking from the perspective of someone who was once a very average Medicaid patient and has since then tried to be a voice for other average Medicaid patients. 16 years ago, this summer, I was diagnosed as needing a kidney transplant sooner rather than later. I was told I needed it right away. I could transplant tomorrow, is what they told me. I was that ready. The problem was that I had no health insurance coverage. I was working part-time. I was going to college part-time. I was working somewhat sporadically as an actor part-time, and I was spending the rest of the time as a live-in caregiver for my niece and nephew, who were just most amazing kids. My nephew just turned 20 just a few months ago, still an amazing person. None of that gave me health insurance coverage. Now, there's a lot of talk about how people who say you're not left without options say that we don't let people die for lack of health care in America. People say you could go to the emergency room or whatever. You can't get a kidney transplant at the ER. I know this. And that kidney transplant cost $79,000. And that was for one of two surgeries. My kidneys were in such bad shape from a lifetime of kidney problems that I was born with, for which I'd had 9 surgeries by the time I was 2 years old, that I had to have my original kidneys removed 6 weeks before. Now, I was able to get a new kidney because of a dear friend who gave me his own kidney, a friend who I now call a brother, who my kids call Uncle Ryan. But it was able to be paid for because of 2 amazing programs called Medicare and Medicaid. Thank you. Yeah, Medicare and Medicaid definitely deserve a round of applause. Now, I couldn't just get the care that I needed and just move on and figure other people could get theirs. So since then, I've spent much of my time as a healthcare activist trying to get other people the kind of access to care that was there for me. You probably can't see my tie, but a lot of you who know me are not going to be the least bit surprised to know that this tie has Batman logos all over it. Batman is kind of my activist alter ego because, like Batman, I try to use my own pain and fear and turn it against itself to protect others from having to suffer. Thank you. Well, now, one of the areas I want to specifically talk about tonight is the population in expanded Medicaid, which we fought so hard to get here in Utah. The Medicaid expansion, yeah, again, that's worth a round of applause. Expanded Medicaid under the Patient Protection and Affordable Care Act. Now, I recognize that as we talk about these possible cuts to Medicaid, that the president has said that people will not lose coverage. Those cuts won't happen. I also recognize that Senator Curtis's own successor, Representative Kennedy, who's having a town hall of his own tonight, has said that it's ridiculous to think that people like him would take coverage away from people. Now, I've met Senator Kennedy on a couple of occasions. Representative Kennedy on a couple of occasions. He was a senator in the Utah legislature until a few months ago. But I can't say I know him well, but I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt and take him at his word on that. But I would like a clearer definition of what he means by people like him. Because in the summer of 2019, I went to Washington, D.C. and spent 4+ hours in a hearing of the House Oversight and Reform Committee where I testified for 5 minutes about the need to preserve the patient protections of the Patient Protection and Affordable Care Act, which was then under attack by a lawsuit before the Supreme Court, a lawsuit which the first Trump administration declined to defend the ACA against. Now, for 4 hours there, I heard many of Representative Kennedy's colleagues in the House of Representatives, many of whom, like Representative Jim Jordan and Representative Chip Roy, are still in the House of Representatives today. Not a single one of them said anything about concern for people who would be losing coverage, like millions of expanded Medicaid patients who would be losing coverage if the Affordable Care Act was struck down without even concepts of a plan at the time to replace it. Instead, they spent the time railing against the Affordable Care Act, railing against former President Obama, and accusing those of us who were there as patients to speak up for it of beating up on the President of the United States. Now, I'm not sure exactly how they thought a then 47-year-old stay-at-home dad with a part-time job was beating up on the most powerful person in the world. I think they might be a little confused as to how bullying works. But the point is, you can't tell me it's ridiculous to think these people will take coverage, including Medicaid coverage, away from people because they tried to do it several times. Now, I haven't been on Medicaid for years. I'm not here trying to protect my own health care this time. I'm trying to protect the people who I have come to know and love in multiple states, who I've tried to tell stories of, people who either have Medicaid or who at the time needed Medicaid. Here in Utah, I'm concerned for people like my friend Jan, who was only able to get the treatments he needed, that he still needs, to fight his cancer because we expanded Medicaid. I'm here for people like my friend Claire, who for years I had to do nothing but cry as she talked about the difficulties she had with her multiple chronic illnesses, which made it unable for her to work, made it unable for her to do so many things because she couldn't even go to a doctor to get them diagnosed, who now has gotten treatment and surgeries and regular medications she needs for those chronic illnesses because Utah expanded Medicaid, and who is working as a writer and editor because she has that consistent coverage. People like my own wife and children who were on Medicaid temporarily as recently as just over a year ago when my wife temporarily experienced unemployment. People like so many people who have come up to me when they found out, or before they found out, that I was involved in the effort to expand Medicaid and told me that their life was changed, or they are alive because of that Medicaid coverage. These people deserve answers, they deserve protection, they deserve care. And these people are afraid because of the specter of huge cuts made by an administration who's being guided in many of their ideas about budget cutting by someone who said that empathy was the great weakness of Western civilization. Well, for those of us who believe in and try to live our lives by teachings like love thy neighbor as thyself, empathy is not a weakness. Empathy is the fundamental line that separates good from evil. So all I'm asking of Representative Curtis is, first of all, to listen to us, hear our stories. There are so many people like these Utahns who have stories of what Medicaid means to them, of what they had to do to barely get by without it, and how they wouldn't be able to cope without it now. I've gone and heard their stories. I've spent the last 10 years of my life hearing their stories. I'm just some guy. You represent them. You owe it to them to hear their stories, Senator Curtis. And then you owe it to them to stand for them and make the choice to do the right thing. I'm going to close by giving a quote from Batman, because I don't know Senator Curtis. We were on the same plane that time I went to testify to Congress, but I didn't actually speak to him or anything. But I think that very likely in his heart he's a good person. But I want to say that Senator Curtis, it's not who you are underneath, but what you do that defines you. How are you going to define yourself now? Thank you.
We have a special treat for you tonight. Please help me welcome State Representative Rosalba Dominguez.
Hello. I'm going to ask you guys to keep this energy the next 4 years. Don't lose hope. Because it's going to be needed and important. So let your inner Karen come out. So I am Representative Rosalba Dominguez. I am one of the Fresh Five on the Democratic team. And our team is incredible and powerful, and the Dems up there are amazing. And there's a lot that you don't see. Yes, girl power. There's a lot that you don't see on the, in social media or on the news, but we are fighting a fight that is unlike any other right now. And to be a freshman, it was very disheartening to hear, to see the conversations that were being had. And I'm going to start with a couple things from the session and also just kind of move into some things that are really important in the Latino community. This year, Representative Ken Ivory ran a bill and a resolution, oh, dear Ken Ivory, about to support federalism, which that means to detach ourselves from receiving support from the feds. What then happens, right? What happens to our programs? What happens to our nonprofits? It is believed that we as a state will cover or dismantle these programs, is what I believe. And again, organizations, healthcare, all the necessities will go to the highest bidder, in my perspective. It was something that he and I personally got into a little tiff about, and he was very concerned that I didn't support him. And that's okay. As a freshman, he needed my support, I guess. So, yes, thank you. We need to run somebody against Ken Ivory, please. But not just Ken Ivory, a lot. We need to really focus on getting better folks at the legislature that care about people. So just so you know, there was a conversation about Medicaid being cut, right, during session. And it was brought up that the rainy day fund, who knows about the rainy day fund in Utah? Do you know how much is in our rainy day fund? $1.5 billion. Billion with a B. It is raining. So one of the questions I asked was, well, will the rainy day fund help us for our nonprofits, our programs, all of the things that we need? And it was just a silent response. So not only do I implore you to contact your state representative or your congressional leaders, but also state representatives as well, especially if you live in a Republican community. It is important with a Republican representative. It's important more now than ever to contact them. So I've been in a lot of meetings. HB 267, if you haven't signed the referendum, I implore you to sign that. A lot of our union members, there's a packet up there. Somebody just raised a packet. They'll be outside. A lot of our union members, I was at meetings, and they were having a little bit of buyer's remorse. And it is the sentiment that we all felt from community leaders, that they had once hoped, especially in the Latino community. There's a sentiment that I did it the legal way. I am first generation. My grandfather came to the United States through the Bracero program, stayed, kept coming back and forth, and our family was then, overall, the family came, we stayed, and we settled. And because of amnesty, my parents had citizenship. But if it wasn't for amnesty, we would be those who didn't come the proper way. So with that being said, it's important now more than ever to lend a helping hand to your Latino neighbors who are scared, who are terrified to come out of their homes, who don't know where to find resources. And even all our communities, our LGBTQIA community, our trans community, everybody, our disabled communities, our veterans. Because more now than ever, we need each other, and I fear for what is to come. I did say the disabled community, yes. Yes, all of our communities. So some of the things that affect the Latino community, heart health, diabetes. Diabetes can affect anybody, but it's increasing now with our population, increasing the boomers. I always say the boomers are coming and we're not prepared. And that's a big fear. One of the things I did hear from Representative Carol Spackman Moss, I love that woman. She is amazing. But there's some institutional knowledge from our elders, and one thing she kept saying is, and she's related to Representative Curtis as well, and she asked him, what are you gonna do when you're faced with these conversations and the IRS shutting down in Ogden and veterans having to come to speak to you and all of those things? And he just said, well, we're working behind the scenes to make it better. And so she said to me, you know, he's there, nobody's not going to know what to do. And we're seeing what's happening across the country. Republicans after Republicans are being told not to hold town halls. They're afraid to be berated, they're afraid to be confronted. And they are, there's some fear, I'm sure, afraid of Trump. I wouldn't doubt it. Yes. They don't represent us. So, again, I implore you. I do have some information. Representative John Curtis will have a town hall on Friday, April 25th. And you can go to www.usglc.org and /events, and it will come up, or even if you search his name. But they are, I'm assuming they haven't had published information, but I'm assuming it will be public very soon. So that's information. There's no location on it yet. Yeah. April 25th, 12 to 1:30. So no location has been announced. www, yes, write this down, write it for your neighbor, put it in your phone, www.usglc.org/events, and it's with the U.S. Global Leadership Coalition, and the town hall is entitled America and the World, How Utah Wins. So we're definitely winning. So just a few other things I wanted to just cover about some of the concerns that we have as Dems, and also some of the concerns that I saw on my committees this year. Our rural areas are gonna need a lot of our support and help. They are the most vulnerable right now. Our Native communities are gonna need our support and help. They are the most vulnerable right now. Our Latino families also are the most vulnerable right now, and those who are immigrants. Our trans community, yes. Our elderly, our disabled communities, yes. Yes. You know what? The white guys need help too. I'm married to one, I know. So, in Utah, just alone into 2023, we had the highest rate of suicide in the state of Utah. We are finding that mental health is one of the leading causes of suicide, and access to mental health is limited. There's a lot of us who are in fear of that and what will come of that. Again, the Rainy Day Fund can help with that. And it's interesting to hear legislators talk about this and to talk about it up on the Hill. And it's disheartening and it's sad. And I know a lot of us have turned the media off. We turned off Utah for the last 45 days. But more now than ever, I implore you to support each other, to find ways to be loud, to be active as much as possible the next 4 years. One of the last things I did want to let you know is I was on a committee called Public Utilities, and that's where we review what happens with Rocky Mountain Power, power generation in the state of Utah, and what is to become of power generation. We are yes, well, solar power got a little hatched this session, if you weren't aware. But we have 20 out of 30 minerals, national minerals in the state of Utah. Where do you think these minerals are? National parks and public lands and the reservations. So they are looking at expanding uranium, mining of uranium, coal, eliminating solar because we don't want it to take up too much power on our grid. They need to expand power generation through public lands and transmission. And they want to be leaders not only nationally but internationally, which is Operation Gigawatt from the governor. I had proposed different amendments, one of them to overlook the health of our miners, of all of our workers that work in these communities, to do a study before we would open anything that had to do with power generation. It was implemented at first, and then it was taken out. And this is important to me, and I'll tell you why. Women will become infertile with exposure to uranium. And if that woman is pregnant, her child will then transcend that to her child. And the exposure to uranium radiation will eliminate childbirth for 3 generations. We do not talk about that. I am one of those women. Yes, they do. But there's a lot of women of color, environmental health is a big thing, that in our communities that we are affected from childbirth. Maternal childbirth is the highest rate of death within the Black community. It's growing nationally, and it's growing even amongst the Latino community. So I advocate to you, I implore you more now than ever, again, contact the governor, contact your local representative, and let them know what's important to you. More now than ever, the spirit in this room needs to stay alive. Thank you so much.
All right, now to hear some words from the director of the Alliance Coalition, Frank Brannon.
Put my spectacles on. Okay, well, thank you. Okay, I've been with the Indivisible movement since its inception in 2017. Before that, I was active in other civic groups and personal issues, and doing what I can to protect our communities, our neighbors, our families. That's been my life. Okay, we've listened to some really powerful personal stories. I mean, these are stories I've heard, and they truly hurt my heart. I've heard them over again. Many people are at risk for losing health care access, not because of government efficiency, but because Trump has promised $4.5 trillion in tax cuts for the wealthy. It has to come from somewhere. Okay. Health care is a human right, and it's a human need. It's a necessity. Our veterans deserve special care, something close to my heart. I'm saying that as an old Vietnam era veteran who spent years working with the ravages of war. I know that, and I want to thank Staff Sergeant Murray for the work he does. It's really important. Healthcare is not a place where, as Senator Curtis has said, we need a stop the car moment. To cut these services, find some efficiencies, that's fine, but continue to service our people. Senator Curtis is rubber stamping what the Trump-Musk thing wants to dismantle our health care altogether, and Medicaid, Medicare, Veterans Care, and so many other crucial government programs. All this to transfer money for a tax cut to the government to people who are actually swimming in money is not necessary. Does the senator believe this is the right way to go? I don't know. He hasn't said so. He hasn't come into a civic town hall and told us one way or the other. Will he represent us or Musk? Will Senator Curtis vow to help us save lives? We've seen, we've seen slides of what we can do to take action. I'm, join a like-minded group. Start your own. I'm with Utah Alliance Coalition, an indivisible group. Be sure to join up. I got my business cards out there. Scan the QR code. Second here. Okay, download. The main thing is, it's just been mentioned. Download the 5 Calls app and use that to call all of your representatives, all of your members of Congress. This is absolutely crucial. Okay, I'm not going to talk for too long, but I would like to make some acknowledgments. We're getting a lot of help from a lot of different people to put this on, and some groups. One in particular in Utah County, so if anyone here in Zoom is in Utah County, Jess Wiley has started a group called Beehive Blue, and it's excellent, and she does really good work. The other is, speaking of indivisible, Sarah McConkey started Utah County Indivisible about a couple weeks ago, and she's been working overtime to get that going. Sarah, can you stand up for us? Okay, there's Sarah. Okay, if you live in Utah County, connect with her. It's very, very important that you get involved, and the best way to get involved is for local groups. Okay. Okay, I'll end this. We are the people, and we are the last defense from this rapidly accelerating tearing down of our constitutional republic. And I can't overstate how serious this is. We do not have the time to wait for Senator Curtis to find his courage. We don't have the time. We have to do it. And we are in this together. Thank you for that sign. Okay, I'll turn it. I would like to thank all of our speakers and our volunteers for making this, and our team for making this happen. Thank you.
Okay, well, we're kind of running out of time. I think let's say we have about 20 minutes for questions, for statements from you guys. We have 2 mic runners. Mic runners, will you raise your hand? Okay, you guys see him back there? If you have something you want to say, just say it. Just let him know, raise your hand, and then they will deliver a mic to you. All right, who would like to get us started? Right here, we have one. Dana, right there.
Okay. Hi, my name is Bill McGinnis, and I'd like to let you all know that I have been calling Congresswoman Malloy's office since the morning of November 6th. Every morning, everybody knows me. We're on first name basis, and they actually even call me back. And this is something that's important. If you do 5 apps, or 5 calls, the app, and you get a voice machine and that's all you can do, that's cool. But when you call your congressperson's office, or if you call, God, I just look at those ears and think of Dumbo. Sorry to get personal, John, but I've been sitting here wishing I had darts. Here's the thing that's so important for everybody. There's a saying that says, I've got the microphone, thank you. There's a saying that says you can count the number of seeds in an apple, but you can't count the number of apples in a seed. When I call my congresswoman's office, the person that I speak to is generally an intern. Interns are college students. They are there, they are not affiliated, they don't have an agenda, they are there stretching their education and they are learning. Don't yell at them. Treat them with humanity, show them respect, you're going to get it back. So take that with you, call, but remember, that's a human being on the other end of the line. Be mad at him, not his people.
Okay, who's next? Over here?
Hi, my name is Rebecca McCarthy. I am the first person in my family to get a PhD. My mom was the first person in our family to get a master's degree. None of this would have been possible without lots of help at all from our friends, from our families, encouragement and loans, grants, and also assistance through educational programs in which I proved my worth as a student at the time in order to earn, in order to give back to my communities. I became an educator. I taught young students in mostly college and university for over 25 plus years. I have a published book. I could never get a full-time job as an educator, ever. I have all the qualifications. I have the publications. And I ended up having to work at several different universities almost my entire life just to try to make a living so that I could help students because I actually really, really cared about my students. And today I'm wearing black because the Department of Education is being shut down. I am also wearing black because the ignorance about COVID from our president, when it was specifically high, has made me disabled. Yeah, I know, I should have. I was out of the bleach. I think it went with the toilet paper, I don't know. It was a hell of a time. The reason I wanted to speak really quick is it's the compassion from other people who helped me make it through this. Compassion from Medicare. I would not be alive today if I did not have Medicare. And I still have things to contribute. I can still mentor. I can still teach. I was a philosopher. We could use some of that right now. Ethics is a good thing. Critical thinking helps you actually maintain your house and vote. So today I'm going to ask all of you to give the people who are in need a little bit more compassion, especially those who are struggling and those who may be losing any support they may have. When we talk about ethics as a community, we're talking about people first, because it's people who make a difference. We're not talking money.
All right, thank you very much. Thank you. That's a lot of wisdom there. I want to make sure that we hear from as many people as possible. So try to limit your comments to about a minute. I know it's hard. We're all very passionate. All right, go ahead.
Hi, we hear a lot of politicians saying, I'm not going to cut the budget to Medicare, Medicaid, Social Security, all of that stuff, VA, all of that. But what they're doing is they're absolutely kneecapping the administrative function that makes those programs work. So if you knock out 10,000 people from the VA, untold numbers of people from Social Security, close down Social Security local offices, restrict phone use to those offices, it effectively shuts down those programs. So let's hold all of our legislators' feet to the fire on this, because it doesn't make any difference if the administrators can't function to actually implement these programs. Thank you.
Excellent. Okay, over here.
So if Senator Curtis were here, what I would like to know, on Monday he spoke at an event at BYU and said something that he's repeated several times about how he says he wish he could shout from the rooftops that he can't fix this, that there's the branch of government that could have any check on the executive is maybe the judicial, but not him. We all know that that's nonsense. But even if that were true, one of the things he acknowledged that he could possibly do, that there's power, is in nominations for the cabinet. And he voted yes on every single one. People who are going to continue spreading misinformation about the SSRIs that gave me my life back, about vaccines that save lives, to the woman who wants to dismantle the Department of Education that will take funding away from kids with autism like my son. How, Senator Curtis, does that help the Utahns that you represent?
It's a good question.
My name is Adam Guyman, and I am disabled from birth, and I've had other disabilities come later on in life. And I know one thing is, if Curtis or anyone says that they represent us, they need to listen to us, because for my life, my disability is part of my life, and unfortunately anyone from any walk of life can end up with a disability, no matter who they are, no matter where they come from, at any point in their life. Disability does not discriminate, and unfortunately disability is the last thing that any of these people that say they care about us or represent us, that's the last thing they ever talk about. They don't care. And I want everyone who says they represent us to actually listen to us.
Okay, over here. Who's got the mic?
Hello, my name is Leonardo Taylor Jones. This conversation and hearing people speak reminded me of a conversation I had with my grandpa. He said that one of his closest friends was on disability, was on Medicare, was on Medicaid, and could not afford his treatment. He knew that he was going to die, and it was costing his family thousands of dollars. His only option was to kill himself. People should not have to do this just to make sure their family doesn't go under after they die.
Just as a point of privilege, that's my kid, and I am so proud of him.
My name is Cynthia. I'm here representing the occupational therapy community. Anyone that need an occupational therapist? When they started talking about the major cuts to Medicaid, it's particularly alarmed me because I can tell you as a therapist who has worked with thousands of Medicaid, Medicare patients, the Medicaid patients in particular already get very little. The patients that I work with, the Medicaid patients, get about 10 days of therapy every 3 months. And that therapy, for occupational and physical therapy is designed to help you become more independent. It's supposed to help you learn how to take care of yourself. About a third of our buildings are filled with Medicaid patients. These people will have nowhere to go if we massively cut. I would like to encourage Senator Curtis to swing by his local skilled nursing facility and talk to the therapists there and talk to the nurses there about talk to them about exactly what their patients are going to lose. Even a minor cut alarms me, but the massive cut that they have proposed, I don't know what these patients are going to do. So.
My name is Dennis Edmonds. I'm a 44-year public education, 27 in the classroom, 17 in the front office. We've talked a lot tonight about specific groups, the veterans, the disabled, the Department of Education shutting down. All those things are extremely important. Maybe the most important thing to watch for right now is the collapsing of the functions of government.
That's
Donald
right.
Trump has basically told the legislature he doesn't care what they think, and they were dumb enough to pass that continuing resolution, which essentially gave him and Musk the power of the purse, and now he's told the court system, sorry, I'm not going to listen to you. I'm going to do whatever the hell I want. There's a word for that, folks. It's called dictatorship, and we are sliding there rapidly. And the most important thing you can take away from here tonight, in addition to working for all these specific causes that you've heard about, is working in general to preserve democracy. None of these programs survives without democracy.
I sent a message to John Curtis, and he sent me this back in a letter. It says, as your, of course my phone's.
Yeah.
You've all gotten it, right?
Yeah.
But I wanted this on the record. It says, as your senator, I take seriously my responsibility to uphold the senator's role as a check on executive authority. At the same time, I recognize that the president, duly elected by the American people, must have the ability to carry out the responsibilities of his office effectively, but it's the next line. As a result, I believe the president should be given a degree of deference in executing his legal authorities, so long as his actions remain within the constitutional bounds, which they are not. Trump is going so far out of the bounds of our legal, he's even having judges that are giving him, shutting him down to have them impeached. We cannot let this happen in our country. You know, it's got to be every citizen, Democrat, Republican, Libertarian, whatever you are, we have to fight for our democracy. But John Curtis has a responsibility to the people, every person in this room, every person in this state, and he is not listening to us. He's telling us, he's sending these stupid letters to us, and he is not recognizing that he has a role to represent us. He's only representing the Republicans that voted for him. But for the rest of the people of Utah, he is not representing us.
Okay, we have time for just one more question.
Hi, I'm Ryan. I feel better now. So I know there's a lot of anger in this room. You saw what I did to that guy over there. But what does help me, so in the book Cult of Trump by Stephen Hassan, what a cult leader does to get people under his control is to bombard them with a lot of information to overwhelm their nervous system and to create a sympathetic nervous system response, otherwise known as fight, flight, and freeze. Everybody here is fighting.
That's right.
Now, there's some people that are fleeing. These are people that explain away things, rationalize things, kind of go along with the flow. And there's people that freeze, people that seemingly go along like nothing is happening, everything is fine. For me, my sister is frozen. I have a lot of friends who are fleeing. And the way we react to these things is not due to the character of them. It's due to their past experiences, how they have encountered the stimuli in the past, angry at people that are fleeing and freezing. Just know that they're just as scared as we are. Continue to love them, lead by example, and try to bring them into the light and bring them into the fight.
That's right. Well said. Okay, we need to wrap up. I'm so sorry. I know you've had your hand up. The good folks at the library have asked us to have everybody out of the building by 9 o'clock so they can go home to their families. But, hold on. Stay in your seats. I have a couple things to say. First of all, thank you for coming. Thank you for making your signs. Thank you for this energy. As a community activist, this is what we need to keep on going. If you, no, I'm so sorry, we have to wrap up, but I appreciate that. I'm so sorry. Okay, thank you very much. I was just informed that there is a protest tomorrow for, let's see, Senator John Curtis, Republican Burgess Owens, and Treasurer Marlo Oaks. It's at the Thanksgiving Point Barn. It's by the 5051 people who do great work. They say arrive at 5:15 p.m. To protest, to stand outside. They're all about peaceful protests. Also, you can take your what is it called, that little parking thing you get, and you can go to the library front desk and get a validation for 2 hours. Okay, well, this was amazing. Thank you for coming. Let's do it again. Let's keep holding our elected officials accountable. Thanks again, and we'll see you next time.